In this video we'll deal with action learning. Now it's a method of personal, managerial and organizational development. But as you can see, that statement doesn't give us a lot to work on. So if we look more deeply into what has been said about action learning and precisely what is meant by it, then we will get a better picture. So here's one way, which put forward by Weinstein in 1999. It's a way of learning from our actions and what happens to us and around us by taking time to question, understand and reflect so that we gain insight and consider how to act in the future. So it seems to suggest that we learn by looking at what's around us, what's happening around us. We learn by observations, we learn by talking to our colleagues, we learn by doing. And from this we can go away, reflect, and we integrate this learning experience into our future behavior. It's a conscious process of learning and reflection supported by colleagues with the intention of getting things done. So it is orientated towards achieving something. It's orientated towards getting a particular task completed and getting an expertise in performing the requirements to complete that task. And we build up these experiences and these skills from our previous experience, when we previously encountered a similar situation, or maybe the precise situation in the past. We learned from our experiences and we take those over to do it again. Now we work on our experiences. The last time we encountered the following problems and this is how we got over it. So now we are more familiar because of our experiences. And the intention is to get a particular task or a particular job done. So what is action learning precisely? Well, action learning is an approach to the development of people in organizations which take the task as the vehicle for learning. So instead of entering a situation where there's a certain task to be completed, instead of looking at the theory and looking at the what was written about how it should be performed, this is learning by doing, learning by taking on the task. Of course, we do that through a cognitive process as well. We study the situation, we think about it. We may take prior learning into account, but essentially we're dealing with the task in front of us, and that's a very practical problem. And we learn from dealing with that problem in whatever way we can. This is very much hands-on. It's solving the problem and learning from the solution that we've encountered. As I said, that's not to say we don't take all theory and all prior learning and reject it. We don't. We take that with us as part of us. But our essential learning here is to complete the task and to learn from the completion of the task. It's based on the premise that there is no learning without action, and no sober and deliberate action without learning. So in this case, learning is a very practical view of learning. Learning must have an outcome, and an outcome which is almost tangible. It's solving a problem, a practical problem, solving it and yielding a result. The result is the reward for the solution of that problem, and we get that reward because we have learned from prior experiences of similar problems. We have taken our own personal characteristics into account, but essentially we have solved a practical problem and learned from doing that, so that the next time round, if there is a next time round, we know how to deal with the problem. Action learning allows individuals to learn from experience. That's the core of action learning, learning from our experience, from solving problems, from meeting problems and resolving problems, and making mental lists of issues and learning from those, reflecting upon them, so that the next time we encounter it, we are much more efficient, much more skilled at solving the problem. We share that experience with others. We can teach others how to, from our experiences, we can say, last time we met this problem, we solved it in the following way. So there is a learning that can be passed on. It may be passed on by demonstrating how to solve the problem, hands-on again, or it may be by indication, by pointing out, watch out for this and be careful about that and do the following. Or don't use that tool, use this particular tool. So it's sharing the experiences with others, so others will learn, and in this way there is a dissemination of good practice throughout the organization. Now, take that challenge and implement it. So other colleagues have will challenge and will also support the thinking about solving problems. When colleagues challenge the ideas that have been brought to bear to solve a problem, when people say that's not the way to solve it, this is the way to do it, they are bringing an alternative for consideration. But they're also, in so doing, bringing support, because they are questioning the right solution. So now it's a question of working out what is the best way forward. There may be competing ideas about how to solve a particular problem. Well, the only way to redress this and to solve it is by implementation, by going about it in a structured way, carefully, trying to get consensus, trying to work out the likely outcomes, and then implementing it. Again, a very practical process. And then review with those colleagues the action taken and the lessons that are learned. It's always important at the end of the task to go back and reflect. Think about what happened, speak to colleagues, ask the colleagues their opinions, what went right, what went wrong, what could be done better. Learn, think about it. So by reflection it becomes part and parcel of the doer. The doer has got a deeper knowledge, a greater understanding of the issue. And these notes come from Reevens, 1998, quite a famous writer in the area. So in this class, what we've done is we've talked about action learning as a very practical solution to problems. It's a question of looking at the problem, whatever it is, within a company, and then trying to solve it. Bringing our past experiences into account, bringing also our learning and our abilities, our greater abilities into account, but bringing our past experiences, talking to colleagues, trying to find what is the best solution, what's the best way around it, looking at the problem from different angles, and then selecting appropriate tools and developing an appropriate methodology, an appropriate method to deal with the problem. And at the end of it, having worked through it perhaps with colleagues, then reflecting on it so that there is greater learning. But that's all we're going to deal with in this session, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.